Recently, I dusted off the old DOS-6 machine. There was more interesting stuff on that machine than I had remembered. Games, documents, including old schoolwork, correspondence and recipes, long-defunct phone numbers, programming languages, databases, even Windows 3.1. Some contents seemed as if they should be preserved, if not for posterity, at least for sparking pleasant memories. That is more or less how I came to make the simple DOS to Wi-Fi interface that I will demonstrate. I will demonstrate this simple serial to Wi-Fi interface by transferring files from an old DOS computer to a modern Windows machine. Before going into details, I want to show you this 30-plus-year-old computer. This is the DOS-6 computer. It is more than 30 years old, and I borrowed the bathroom scale in order to show how much it weighs. Almost 45 pounds, roughly 20 kilos. The keyboard plugs into a recessed 5-pin DIN jack on the back. Lower down are two COM ports. We will be using COM1 for the serial to Wi-Fi interface. COM2 also has a use, which I'll mention later on. The 15-pin video adapter is near the bottom. This is an exceptionally simple interface circuit. There are just two components, an RS-232C to TTL adapter and an ESP12F Wi-Fi board. The adapter has a DB9 connector for serial input, and on the board there are just three wires, plus, minus, and a connection between the receive pin on the TTL end to a microcontroller input pin. A few seconds after being powered on, the interface connects to the local area network via Wi-Fi. A brief flash of the onboard LED signals successful connection. Biomorphs were created by Richard Dawkins a long time ago to illustrate one of nature's great principles. The source code for this implementation appears to consist of a basic language program with 5 include files. The zip command is an alias for the full path to pkzip. The CLE command shell supports aliasing along with lots of other good stuff. Remember the zip file size. We will compare it to the size of the received file. UUENC is also an alias. This one specifies the full path to UU encode.
Is Procom still a word?
Well, on this old computer, Procom is evidently still a word. On startup, Procom sends a canned modem string to the serial port. This modem command is not visible on the screen, and we can strip it either on the send or receive end. As the file is being uploaded, Procom's status bar shows progress by displaying the line count. When the upload finishes, I type Ctrl-Z to inform the receiver to save the file. This is Windows 11. On the Windows end, a UDP listener written in Python stores the received data. Here's a link to the Python listener's source code. We open the received text file using Notepad++. Notice that the status bar in Notepad++ specifies that the received file is in Macintosh format. One way of dealing with the Macintosh format is to copy the received text in Notepad++ and paste it into the nano editor on a Linux box. I used this roundabout method for several file transfers, reformatting and decoding the files in Linux, and then copying the decoded versions to Windows. Then I came across a small but useful Windows application that decodes a variety of different file formats, including the Macintosh format. See the link below to download this utility. In the UUD64 program, open the received file. The decoder displays the name of the original file, the decoded file, in the right-hand panel. If the displayed file name is correct, click Save. To reiterate, the UUD64 program is new to me. I'm confident there are other ways of doing this in Windows. I'll open 7-zip. Windows Zip also works, but I like 7-zip. Using 7-zip, we can preview each file. All of the extracted files look like normal source code in the basic programming language. In the interest of time, this demonstration has illustrated the transfer of an atypically small file set. So far, the largest file that I have transferred in this way was more than 28,000 lines in length, or around 1.5 megabytes. I didn't make note of the time, but I think that transfer took a half an hour or more. FreeDOS is installed in a folder that is, not surprisingly, named FreeDOS. The DOS file system occupies the file named c.hd, roughly 400 megabytes. Folder d.hd is shared between Linux and DOS. In DOS, d.hd is mounted as drive D. Presently, d.hd contains 2 subfolders for the demonstration transfers. Linux or Windows file names that are longer than 8 characters are okay. They are truncated in DOS. In the biomorph folder, both source and executable files have been uploaded. To be clear, the executable that is shown was not rebuilt from source. The largest file transferred for this demo is the data.dat file in the Vikings folder. Note that the UU encoded form of the file is roughly 40% larger than the decoded data. Near the beginning of the demo, I said that I would explain how COM2 was used. A serial mouse plugs into COM2. I am going to take a brief stroll around Windows 3.1. The calculator is colorful, but pressing a number key does not change its glyph. There's no indication that it was pressed, except for the corresponding value appearing in the display register. GNU Chess is not Arena or Droidfish or Chess Pro, but the good thing is that an ordinary human could last longer against a computer chess program back then. I spent some time on the Windows tutorial. It was fun. Here I am learning how to double-click. I had forgotten that the player had to paint individual cells. Later, I rewrote this program in Delphi. The rewrite was much improved. You'd select a shape and symmetry and place it on the board. Plus, the Delphi program played a stronger game. Control panel was so much simpler then. File Manager is now called File Explorer. EIF Editor seems similar to the tabbed Properties pop-up in recent Windows versions.
I don't think I ever really was good at this as a kid. You know? I don't know if I ever made it past all this before.
Well, been too many years to
It's a little tedious.
Well, I think there's only one of them that has a shield.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at his pants. When you get on the stairs.